Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. All Things Middle-earth here with a video looking at the pros and cons of Season 2 so far in the Lord of the Rings The Rise Tour. So let's jump right into the video. All right, so Season 2 has been live for around 1 week, just a few days over 1 week. I think we're at 9 days today at the time of recording this, at least. So by the time this goes live, maybe we're getting closer to 2 weeks. I think there's been a lot of good things for the season so far. I also think there's been some things that have not been so great that have kind of surprised people or been frustrating or whatever. So this is not meant to be a super negative video. I want to highlight some good things we like and also just point out some things that have been not so great. And so as always, I would love to hear your feedback in the comments below. If you agree with these things, if you don't agree, what things you like and haven't liked that much in Season 2. I stream over on Twitch as well, and we play the Rise Tour and have discussions like this live. So if you ever want to come over there and hang out during the week, I'd love to hear your feedback over there. So that's linked in the description below if you are interested. But let's go ahead and jump right in first. I'm going to do these things. They are in no particular order. I'm just going to do all the cons. I have 4 of each. I have 4 cons and 4 pros. We're going to start with the pros, actually. So the first thing, a pro for Season 2, is going to be the regional buffs you get from capturing different areas. So if you didn't know, there's this little button right here that can now be selected on and off, and different areas give you different boosts. So here you have stone production per hour. If you have the ring, you get 5% to your army stats. If you have that, you get stone production. There's some down here that are, this is +5 to max ability points. So there's a lot of really interesting things there. And I think that's just a really cool update, and it gives for some incentives for players to capture certain territories and defend certain ones maybe higher than others, even if they're not as powerful. Now, I know there is a master list with all of these, and I'm assuming there's a correlation between the lower power ones being maybe less exciting than the higher power ones, but I guess I can't say for sure. I don't know if there are any lower power ones like at the 160s that are very good, or if most of those are just resource production, which still good. But for the most part, it seems like, I don't know, I think that's a really good thing. So hopefully you enjoy that one as well. But I think that's a definite pro for Season 2. Number 2 for the pros is going to be server activity. This one isn't really something that was done. It's just how it's going to work every season. But since this is our first time going from one season to the next, I figured I'd leave it in as a pro for this one. But you have all these different servers that get merged into one server. Specifically, this is a role-playing server that I'm playing on. And so everyone in the last 2 weeks, or before the season started for 2 weeks, had the sign-up period. And so those are all at least people that are active enough to get on and check that box to go to role-playing server. So I think the player activity starting out is going to be a lot higher in these servers. Now, we're only a weekend, but it's still been really active. So we'll see how it ends up finishing up, once a few weeks get going by, or maybe once some major things have happened. But I do think the player activity is very, very, very high. And it's not a con, but you know the player activity is high when you have a hard time finding tiles to take. And that's the problem I've been having, is I've had to really go out of my way to capture tiles so I can get my tile count up. So the player activity is definitely a bonus for Season 2. All right, another thing is a new feature they added, which is the quick troop march. Now, this is a very small thing, but I think it's a great option here. Right here, you have this quick march ability, so you can check that. I don't actually have enough ability points right now, but it allows you for 10 ability points to do a much quicker march than usual. Now, especially paired with a location bonus that gives you extra ability points, that could really be used a lot better, because that structure is going to cover half of that. But I think that's going to be a really good thing, because there are going to be strategic times where you just need to get somewhere faster, and it's worth sacrificing the ability points. So it just adds a little bit more of a layer to the complexity and the dynamic of the different battles that are happening. So I think that's a really cool thing. I was really excited when I saw that be posted, and then I was excited to see it actually go live for roleplay servers as well as the non-roleplay servers. So that's number 3. And number 4, again, something I expect to see every season, but again, it was our first season, so it was, I guess, good to have that. But it's kind of 3 things lumped together, and that's new locations, new commanders, and new troops. Now, I don't think any of these have been totally game shaking. I think they're cool. But again, if you discovered the world of Middle-earth because of like the Hobbit films, for example, you might be a really big fan of someone like Thorin Oakenshield. So him not being in the game so far and then being added might be a very, very cool thing for you. So I think adding new commanders like that, obviously the more that over time they get added, we're going to really be diving deeper into the lore. They are obviously also making their own new characters for the Rise to War in this like universe. But I think there's still going to be characters added that people like or at least know who they are. But Thor, I think, was someone who definitely deserved a spot in here as being a pretty popular character. So that, and just new different troop types you can play with, and new locations. Maybe you like Gundabad or something that was added, and now you got that here. Pretty cool place. So again, all those new things for the season 2. I think those are excellent additions. Okay, now we get to the cons, and I'm going to try and go through these really quickly. I don't want to focus too much on the negative. This isn't just a video to just spew things that I don't like. I want to get your feedback on this, and ideally let this be a place where people can voice their opinions, and hopefully developers or anybody can see this and say, yeah, okay, these things were not as well received, something very minor. So number 1 is going to be the red book. Now, if you have started season 2, you know that the red book did not reset, and this is just something that does not make sense to me. From what I've heard, they are looking at doing a new type of red book, but we're already almost, I think we're 9 or 10 days into the server right now. So we'd already be halfway through this one, and we don't have another one yet. So to me, if you don't have a new thing ready, I don't understand why you wouldn't have just made this one available, because that early game resource every day really helps to keep the progress going. I've noticed the progress is a lot slower for myself for this and another reason, which is my next con. But again, if the new one's not ready, okay, fine. We understand. Let us know. Communicate with us. But then just reset this one. I really don't see how that would have been game breaking or a big deal at all to do, since it's all already in the game. This is just, hey, let us do this thing again to get resources. It wasn't particularly fun for most of them. It was pretty easy. But again, I feel like the red book was just a really confused. It didn't make sense for them not to do that. So that is con number 1. Con number 2, in the same vein as that, is going to be the chapter progression. Now, the chapter progression is the exact same here, but previously in Season 1, as you progress through, either Gandalf or Saruman, depending on who you were playing as, what alignment you were playing as, would come and give you a little bit of troops, not even very many. Basically, we've noticed that at least for me, the early game in Season 2 has been a little bit slower than Season 1, because you don't have the red book to help out with your resources, and you're not getting those extra troops to help out with things. Even something on the good side, like getting eagles, could be helped to path to certain areas a little bit quicker. There was a lot of fun able to be had with those extra troops and extra resources. And now, again, I streamed the start of this season and very quickly just noticed how quick that you kind of ran out of stuff to do, that you're waiting on resources or waiting on troops especially. So again, to me, it doesn't really make sense as to why you took that feature out. Maybe there's a strategic reason for it. Maybe they felt like the game progressed too much. And I'd be happy to hear that argument, that maybe the game progressed too quickly in the early game, which left players kind of running out of stuff to do. But I don't know if taking away troops like that in the beginning is a solution to that problem. I think maybe it's looking at the season lengths. I think it's maybe adding different things to do in the seasons, not just taking away something that was just kind of a little helpful thing. But now that it's taken away, I think it was just something that people cared about more now that it's gone. So again, that's con number 2. Number 3, this one I'd be interested to hear people's thoughts on, because I know it's going to be different depending on who you are. But for me, the unique equipment has been a con. Now, I'm a pretty, I don't know. There are people that spend more than me. There are people that spend less than me. I've spent a good amount of money in this game, and that's beside the point. So for me, and I feel like for a lot of players who maybe spent and got 1 or 2 characters to tier 10, or maybe you're really close to it, and so you were really excited for Season 2 to start, and it's like, all right, I finally got someone to tier 10, just to find out that, okay, the quests, they're one thing. You got to do some stuff. I've seen some of these quests be a little bit tricky and really specific, capturing specific regions or doing specific things. Even that aside, it's just the mithril cost, and it's that it's 60 of it. Now, I have been buying the raw mithril every day from the store, and I'll get it in another probably 3 days if I can get lucky on the tips. But if you are free to play or a light spender, and maybe you spent just a little bit to get to R10 because you thought, you know what, I don't know who your favorite character is, but maybe it's Eowyn, or maybe it's Dwalin. Again, I have Dwalin and Eowyn, but maybe it was Dwalin. You loved Dwalin, and you thought, I want to get these twin axes for Dwalin. They're going to be so cool. I'm just going to really focus. I'm not going to do any other commanders. I'm going to get Dwalin to R10 just to find out you need 60 of these things. Now, yes, they're available in tips, and that's great, but it seems pretty slow, maybe 1 a day, unless you're refreshing. And even that, if you refresh all of your tips every day, you still might not get them. So again, I think it's more just that it was a surprise to people that was going to be a cost than it actually being a negative thing. If at the very beginning it was made really clear, hey, on top of a steep R10 requirement, you're going to need this mithril. Again, for characters like tier 2 and tier 3 characters, it's going to be even more nuts. And if you want to buy those things every day, it could run you hundreds and hundreds of dollars on top of what you may have spent to get them to that R10. So again, it's situational. If you're free to play, you might just be like, hey, I don't care. I'm free to play. I wasn't going to get it anyway, so I don't care if it's a lot harder. And maybe, I don't know. I don't know where everyone sits on it, so I'd love to hear what you guys think. But I've been a little bit less than happy with how that whole situation was unveiled, and even how you couldn't even access it until later in the progression, which they then dropped. It wasn't originally going to be available until progression 10, but then during the last update, they just said they were making it go live, which again, I didn't really see as a great goodwill thing. I saw it as more of a, all right, we can start making money off the Mithril now. But again, maybe that's just me. So I'd love to hear feedback on the R10, the unique equipment for that one. But that's the third con for Season 2. And then last but not least, again, these are in no particular order here, is just the fact that there are no different season progressions. So other than there's one new thing, this one here, where basically based on how many regions your faction has, there's going to be a small reward for that. But other than that, everything across the board is the exact same. The kind of end goal to obtain the ring, which is right here, that's the same. Again, I don't think anyone's expecting the game to be totally reinvented season by season, but I think people would have been happy to see, even if the ring was in a different spot. So right here, it's in the same spot as last time. Maybe it's over here somewhere, just at where it may have been at a different point in time. I mean, maybe it'd be silly, but maybe you put it in Hobbiton and just make this a really powerful keep to take because the ring's there. I don't know. Just something to shuffle things up a bit, maybe give different factions an opportunity, because right now, the same factions that had the first opportunity to get in there for Season 1 are going to do that in Season 2. Now, obviously, if you have a powerful faction, it doesn't matter. You're going to get there. But I think seeing the ring move around or just a different objective would have been cool. Again, I understand that the game's not going to be like drastically changed every season, but I think some shuffling around could have been nice. But there you have it. Those are my 4 pros and 4 cons. If I'm being honest, I had to think harder to find the pros than I did to find the cons, so I don't want to be too negative. So I'd love to hear about some things that you all are enjoying in Season 2, because the more we make our voice heard about the things we enjoy, hopefully the devs see that and see, hey, these are the things that we like, keep doing these things, and maybe we can nudge them in the right direction. I'm not interested in being like super negative or hateful towards anyone. Again, I'm very much enjoying the game, but maybe some things, hey, if there's not going to be a new red book, and honestly, I mean, if it's something that changed, so players that are still progressing from Season 1 to 2, even if they just change it and said, fine, we're going to make the red book go live, yeah, I missed out on it, but if it makes it a better experience for other players, then I'm happy with that. So I think even like it doesn't have to be for the launch of it. So I think they could change how they're doing things as the game progresses, as they see what's happening in these first servers that went to Season 2. So again, I'm rambling a little bit, so I'm going to wrap it up. Appreciate your time. Hopefully you're having a good one. Let me know in the comments how you are feeling about Season 2. And I'm over on Twitch, if you didn't know, streaming The Rise to War. So come hang out over there with us. We talk about this stuff. If you want to come share your thoughts live and we could talk about it, that would be awesome. But that's going to do it for me in this one. I'll see you all in the next video.